Hi everybody, welcome to the Unit 2 modified test. I'll be reading the test questions to you. The Unit 2 test has a total of 30 multiple choice questions, and the short answer question at the end has a three-part question to it. So question 31 is actually broken down into three parts. So you'll see it as question 31, 32, and 33. We're going to scroll back up to the top of the test, and I'll be reading through the questions and the answer options. Be sure to pause the recording at any time that you need to. You can rewind and fast forward as well as you need going through the test. Let's get started. The first question, what were two consequences of the French and Indian War? The first option, Indian territories and rights were guaranteed under new British laws. France gained territory and established new Indian alliances. Or the last option, Britain gained territory and increased the nation's debt. Number two, how did colonists react to the Proclamation of 1763? First option, they were angry that Britain had limited the area available for settlement. They were pleased to have new guidelines about territory for settlement. Or the last option, they were grateful to have more British ships bringing goods to ports. Question 3, what was the colonists' biggest objection to paying taxes to the British government? They could not afford the taxes. They did not elect members to Parliament and so believed Parliament had no right to tax them. Or the last option, the money from taxes funded only British troops and not the American militia, who provided most of the colonial defense. Number 4, why did the British think that American colonists should be taxed? They thought Americans were too independent and Britain needed to assert its authority. They believed that the colonies should support the citizens of England. Or the last option, they thought Americans should contribute to Britain's costs in defending the colonies during and after the French and Indian War. Number 5, what happened during the Boston Massacre in 1770? Indians from Maine quickly snuck into Boston's harbor and set fire to a ship. British troops fired on colonists for the first time, killing 5. Or the last option, colonists opened fire on British troops, killing 10. Number 6, what was the British Parliament's response to the Boston Tea Party? They decided the colonists should elect members to Parliament to represent them. They passed the Intolerable Acts and closed the port of Boston. Or the last option, they refused to deliver any further shipments of tea to the colonies. Number 7, what action did the colonists take in September of 1774 in response to their issues with Britain? First option, they formed a United States Army at West Point and began planning for war. B, the representatives from 12 colonies met at the Continental Congress in Philadelphia. Or C, the last option, they forced the British to send all their troops home and barricaded ports against their return. Number 8, who led the Sons of Liberty's efforts to correspond with other colonies about threats to Boston's liberty? Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, or Samuel Adams? Number 9, what influence did English philosopher John Locke have on the Declaration of Independence? The first option, Locke had formed a British Committee for Independence, which the American Committee patterned itself after. Second option, Locke argued that government should protect people's natural rights of life, liberty, and property. Or the third option, Thomas Jefferson corresponded with John Locke before the committee met to write the Declaration. Number 10, which country's support was crucial to the new United States of America during its war for independence? France, England, or Germany? Number 11, which group of events occurred during the American Revolution? Group A, First Continental Congress convened, shots fired at Independence Hall, British treaty with the Hessians, and British regulars took control of Connecticut. Or Group B, American victory at Saratoga, naval successes for John Paul Jones, American losses at Charlestown and Savannah, and British surrender at Yorktown. Number 12, why were the battles of Trenton and Princeton so important for Washington and the Americans? They gave Americans confidence that victory over Britain was possible. Huge numbers of British soldiers lost their lives. Or the last option, they established the state of New Jersey as an American stronghold. Number 13, what was one weakness of the Articles of Confederation? Any measure required 9 states for approval, and amendments required all 13. Second option, the Articles of Confederation defined the western boundaries of the United States along the Mississippi River. Or the last option, the British were allowed to recover some of the costs of the war, and this was expensive. Number 14, what important measure passed under the Articles of Confederation addressed slavery and established a process for statehood? The Bill of Rights, the Northwest Ordinance of 1787, or the Declaration of Independence? Number 15, what opinion about government did the people of the United States share after the American Revolution? They were excited by the prospect of a strong new federal authority. They remained suspicious of a strong central government, or they sought advice from the British about parliamentary government and the rules of common law. Number 16, what was the purpose of the Constitutional Convention held in Philadelphia in 1787? To promote a spirit of cooperation to achieve foreign trade agreements, to name the first president of the United States of America, or to fix the Articles of Confederation, especially the economic and trade issues. Number 17, which characteristics of government would the Federalists have supported? Group A or Group B? Group A includes strong central government, ability to negotiate foreign treaties, regulation of interstate commerce, and power to impose taxes. Group B includes central authority checked or limited, taxation approved by states, military power concentrated in state militias, and states to deal with foreign powers. Would it be Group A or Group B? Number 18, what documents were written to persuade people to adopt the new Constitution? The Book of Human Rights, the Federalist Papers, or the Constitutional Communications? Number 19, which group states the goals of the U.S. Constitution as found in the preamble? Group A, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, and promote the general welfare. Or Group B, secure freedom from Britain, establish 3 branches of government, set up a cabinet, and legalize collection of taxes. Group A or Group B, which one states the goals of the U.S. Constitution as found in the preamble? Number 20, which is a true statement about the U.S. Constitution? It was immediately ratified by all the states. It is the longest lived written plan for a representative government in history, or it was Thomas Jefferson's masterpiece. 21, which group decides the rights and responsibilities of the executive branch? Group A, approve constitutional amendments, pass laws, approve federal judges, and make a vetoed bill a law. Or Group B, carry out laws, sign bills into law, name federal judges, and veto bills. Number 22, what plan proposed a bicameral legislature with 2 senators per state in a House of Representatives based on population? Was that the Philadelphia Compromise, the Connecticut Compromise, or the legislative plan? What did the 3/5 Compromise achieve? It allowed 3/5 of the states to approve new taxes. It determined how enslaved people were to be counted for representation and taxation, or it required the cabinet to seek congressional approval before sending troops to war. Number 24, the quotation in the box is from the Constitution. Which concept does it demonstrate best? The quote says, "Every order, resolution, or vote to which the concurrence of the Senate and House of Representatives may be necessary, shall be presented to the President of the United States, and before the same shall take effect, shall be approved by him, or, being disapproved by him, shall be repassed by 2/3 of the Senate and the House of Representatives." Is this an example of checks and balances, advice and consent, or judicial review? Number 25, what do all the statements in the box have in common? After 1783, most American men refused to tip their hats to men of higher status. Paid household workers preferred to be called to help instead of servants. Laws no longer required that eldest sons inherit the entire family estate, and a number of planters and others made provisions to free their slaves. Was this an example that they demonstrate their decline in good manners that occurred as a result of years of warfare? They are examples of a new sense of social equality that came out of the American Revolution. Or the last option, the states enacted laws to enforce all these trends after the American Revolution. This one has a bit of a typo in it, so I'm going to read it the way that it should sound. It says, which document was written to address the goals above? Justified separation from Great Britain, articulated the responsibilities of modern government, announced to the world America's new status as free and independent. Which document had these goals in it, or had these goals in mind when it was written? The Articles of Confederation, Declaration of Independence, or the Constitution? The list below contains the reasons the Americans won the Revolutionary War. Choose another reason that the Americans won the Revolutionary War from the options provided. The war was fought on American territory, the superiority of the American military, or the weapons were more sophisticated. So which one of these options would fit with the fact that the French support was secured? 5,000 former slaves joined the Continental Army. Britain lost interest in fighting a long, costly war. Which one fits in with this group here, listing why the Americans won? Which of the following best describes the Articles of Confederation? They listed the basic rights granted to all U.S. citizens. They declared the independence of the 13 colonies from Great Britain, or they formed the first government of the United States. During the Constitutional Convention, the states had to make a number of negotiations in order to agree. Which of the following were attempts at compromise? The New Jersey Plan, the Federalist Plan, or the Three-Fifths Compromise? The Bill of Rights was written to protect the rights of businesses, individuals, or minorities, for number 30. Your short answer questions are listed below. First is given the big idea of the unit, followed by your chapter and page number cues. The first question is, would you have supported the fight for independence during the American Revolution? Explain your answer with 2 examples from the textbook of why you would have chosen the side that you did. The second short answer question is, describe the concept of checks and balances in the U.S. Constitution. Include one example of how one branch checks another in your answer. The third question is about courage. It says, in this unit we have seen many examples of individuals showing courage during times of challenges. Remember, courage is doing the right thing in the face of difficulty and following your conscience instead of the crowd. Give an example of courage from Unit 2, or an example of courage from your own life. If you don't have an example of personal courage, give one from your community or an example from current events. Explain who was showing courage and which event or situation they faced with courage. After answering the short answer questions, you can go back up to the top. Again, you should have been hitting save, saving your answers as you go, and probably writing down your answers as you go as well in case you lose power or internet, and then also submit for grading. Good luck on your test. Make sure to contact your U.S. history teacher if you have any questions.